this was a piece I was doing just last week, following the election, and that's when we're now kind of recording post-election, 2010.
Yeah.
But I was making the point in terms of, the things we wish for actually is a vote for the world to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And here's one, in the example I was using, that who doesn't want to be more well off than the average? Every one of us, not everyone, I know you're in a paragon of kind of...
Am I?
Something or other.
I wish I'd known this earlier, Mark.
But, if you ask most people, would you, are you hoping to be better off than the average? The answer is yeah, I would like to be better off than the average. And as soon as we wish or vote for that, we have voted for a world of inequality.
Yeah, well, we've voted for a world of judgment and comparison.
Well, no, we voted for a world in which I have more than the average, which means that others, by definition, must have less. So, you see, what is a very... Yes, no, actually, no, go with this for a second. It's slightly different.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But what it is that a very simple aspiration, which you might think is almost innocent, has actually, and when you multiply that individual aspiration by society also having the same aspiration, you have actually voted for a society in which there are haves and have-nots.
Of course.
Similarly, if we, for instance, want to use more of the resources than the average can in the world, that is averagely available, we have actually then voted for a world in which there is scarcity. Again, it seems like an innocent aspiration, but multiplied out, these aspirations become manifest a world that is unfair, where there is scarcity and where there is exploitation. But we will step back and say, but I don't want the world to be unfair. Why is the world unfair? It's terrible, Why isn't the world a perfect, nice place like I want it to be? No, you don't want it to be a nice place. You actually want it to be a place where you have got more than others. You want it to be a place where people can graft and kind of grab more than their share. And it seems, horrific that we actually would think like that, but just these little aspirations that we have that are fed into us, from a consumer society or any society, I think it's always been there, throughout all the ages, it actually manifests a reality for human society, which we complain about, but it is all of our own creation.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is a huge topic, and I love it. First of all, let me explain why I said no earlier. Okay, this whole thing is based on the mindset of scarcity and there not be enough for everyone. That's the first thing, right? So if, as I do, you believe in an abundant world where there is not only enough but more than enough for everyone, right, then that's the starting point. Now, against that you have a society, media driven, which day after day, hour by hour, probably minute by minute, reinforces scarcity. Anywhere you look, right? Anywhere you look. And, there's only enough for so many people. Poverty wouldn't exist if there wasn't that mindset, because how can you be poor? You can't. You can't be poor. All the resources of the world are there. It's going back to our unlimited potential. But, everything is there.
You can say it doesn't matter how much you think the world can produce. If you want to have more than the average, you will have people with more and people with less. Now we know that that the average person in the developed world has got more than they ever need. So it doesn't matter how much the world can produce, we can still create the circumstances in which we think it's not enough and I want more.
But ask yourself, why do people believe that? Why do people want more?
Well, I think it goes back to a point we've been discussing in some earlier topics, that they are not satisfied within themselves.
No, I would say no, it's fear. It's fear, it's fear, it's scarcity, it's fear of scarcity,
it's the same thing.
And it's fear of all the things that you can think of that money can buy, basically.
But if you are satisfied within yourself, you don't have fear. That's the whole point about it.
But if you're satisfied within yourself,
yeah,
do you need money?
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
You may or may not need, you
Yeah.
know, you may or may not use money to, you know, as a kind of medium, but you become, with whatever that you have, whatever comes naturally to you, whether it's money, food, or whatever, you will be satisfied with. Now, the majority of us, and it's a very common state, very few people are self-satisfied.
There's another element as well.
And therefore, we don't think that we have enough, and therefore we fear that even what we do have won't be enough for the future, or won't be there for us in the future, or will be taken away. So it becomes the source of fear. But my view is that I think the world is an abundant place, and I think that our attitude to it creates a sense of scarcity. And I think that we'll also do some stupid things, practical things, you know, that, you know, could be improved. As you know, I do tend to favour vegetarian kind of lifestyle, and one of the reasons is because you cannot have a world in which everyone is eating beef cows. You will burn up, you know, in the way we do it at the moment, you're burning up more land, more resources, more feed, more water than can be shared out. And not everyone in the world can follow that diet. And I don't believe that it is ethically responsible for any one of us to live a lifestyle which cannot be replicated by every other human in the planet. Whether they choose to or not is another matter. But at least if I am living a particular lifestyle, I have to recognize that others can and, you know, might aspire to the same. And the world's got to be able to accommodate that. If I'm taking, you know, more of the resources than can be shared out amongst everyone, then I think that's an issue.
Well, again, I mean, the statement you've just made, with respect, Martin, you know, presupposes that there isn't enough for everyone. That's the first thing that we've got to get away from. That is the very first thing. Are you
saying that if everyone on the planet wants to eat beef,
no, I'm not saying that.
The planet can sustain.
But I'm saying, what I am saying, if everyone on the planet wants to have a reasonable, well, okay, we're going to get into difficulty with words, wants to have a good quality of life,
no, but
they can have it.
I agree.
If everyone on the planet, first of all, I don't believe everyone on the planet does want to eat beef, but even if they did, you know, then I may have to make some major surgery and sort of mental processing, but you know, there would be a way. There would be a way to create that. There would be a way.
And at what expense to?
Well, an enormous expense. But you're coming from an.
So
you're giving me an example. Yeah, but you're giving me an example, which is you're giving me a very. It's like saying, you know, what if all the world wanted to eat frogs' legs? Well, I mean, that's crazy. You know, in a sense, beef. Let's get off beef, right? What does the human need? Let's assume that humans need to eat.
Yes.
Right. They have. You know, we have huge choice out there. I would say we don't need to eat any meat. Full stop. Whether you believe in vegetarianism or not. And I'll come back to meat as well. And all these people who say that we've got to eat meat for protein or we've got to eat meat because we're naturally meat eaters. Crap. I'll come back to that. Right. Okay. So. What I'm saying is that the resources on the planet, the resources growing on the planet, are more than enough to feed everyone.
Yeah.
Now,
but that doesn't. But my point is that I absolutely believe that the world can sustain not only its current population but its growing population.
Yeah.
I actually absolutely believe that.